Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays a Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, where we're taking it one day at a time. We're piecing together runs now and then. There was our seed, by the way. You know I'm a little nervous about the way this run looks right now. Magneto not really helping, to be honest. 1 HP is always dangerous, and I'm just now realizing we have 6 range. 6 is like way lower than that number normally gets to. So it seems a little spotty, but I honestly, if you had asked me what 6 range looked like a second ago, like before the run started, I probably would have said it like shoots just barely in front of you. Clearly that's not the case. Thankfully that's not the case. This is a bit of a spicy room, but you know, we kept our wits about us. Our stats are actually totally fine. I don't even want to blame the Eden start necessarily. This is an indirect way of blaming the Eden start, but the reason our speed is down is really because of kidney stone. You've heard me talk about it before in the past. I don't want to get into it too much. If there's one little design thing, though, that I've brought up now and then, and there's more than one, to be honest, I also always bring up how many pills in the game do absolutely nothing, and how many pills in the game are negative, but not to the degree that they actually matter. They're just kind of like, hey, gotcha. But I hate that there's so many items that do one cool thing, and then compensate by doing a bad thing on top of that. Like clicker is my favorite example. I would use clicker literally on every single run, except they made it so that you lose an item either every time you click or, you know, now and then when you click. So it's unacceptable because, you know, you're really just being like, okay, well, I'm deliberately gonna play one room with my eyes closed. Like, it's not a fun type of difficulty. It's just like, you know, it renders it essentially unusable in my opinion. Hey, 2 items I kind of wish we re-rolled, to be honest, but we'll head down. I'm not trying to be negative, I love Isaac, it's just this one little design axiom. Like, kidney stone already has a negative, and it's on display right now. We got so lucky there. If you're in a situation like this, you're getting rushed down, you need shots to come out, kidney stone sometimes could just be like, nah, you're not getting your shot. You know, we're charging up right now, as you can see. Why does it have to have a speed downgrade as well? Well, because if you had a kidney stone, you wouldn't run so fast. Yeah, but like, who cares? I mean, like, your urologist, I'm assuming, your nephrologist, your family doctor, they would care. If you had a kidney stone, they would probably be like, maybe cool it on the jogging. But, you know, if I had a kidney stone, my character also probably wouldn't have a freaking smile on her face. She would probably be in an incredible amount of pain right now. So how... we're picking and choosing here. Why don't we pick and choose stuff that amplifies the experience anyway? Again, I apologize. We started off with some negativity. It's not really negativity. I think there's a difference between, you know, negativity and criticism, I think. This is not criticism designed to tear down. It's criticism designed to, not really to build up. It's just criticism designed to elucidate my own point, I suppose. Everything is totally fine if we can just get a deal with the devil. Even not getting a spirit heart there, not that big of a deal. You know, a deal with the devil is really the only thing that matters, as long as we can keep our HP reasonably high at the same time. I mean, as high as this, I guess, is really the... We're not super killing it from an HP standpoint right now, so... You know, I gotta be very careful about what we still got. That's a reroll. And that's actually totally fine. You might think number 2 is a little dangerous. I mean, I wouldn't disagree. There's danger inherent in its existence. But I think it's also... I mean, I would go to bat for this item. I actually think number 2 is... And this is gonna be... It's gonna sound a little clickbaity, but you've already clicked, so I have no reason to clickbait you. I think it actually is in the top, like, few % of items that just by itself have the most offensive impact. Like, I would definitely rather have number 2 than a damage upgrade. Like a basic damage upgrade. You know, like meat. Will it hurt us from time to time? Yeah, probably. Okay. You hate to see it. But we'll move on anyway. You can knock me off of the high of number 2 here, okay? I'm so happy to see it. And if we're gonna go to the curse room, let's be smart about it. Let's not go to the curse room until we get a charge. And personally, I don't think we're gonna get a charge. Or I don't want to get a charge there. And now we don't even need a charge, because we can just walk in. This is a very strong room. Anyway, now that things have settled a little bit, how's my day going? It's going well. Thank you for asking. Whether you asked or not, thank you for thinking it. Friends till the end. Tears down. It's a bummer. Definitely a bummer. But again, number 2 does so much for us. And also, who does number 2 work for, dude? Never figured that out in the movie. Just kidding, it's Dr. Evil. In case you thought it was a hypothetical question. Today is Friday. I talked about it last night, which for you was yesterday morning, if you watch these right as they come out. I love a Friday. You know, I love doing the ranking of days of the week. Saturday will be my favorite day as long as it's my day off. I love a Saturday. Also coalesces or combines a lot of, you know, hobbies of mine. You know, I can definitely take a little bit more time to study some Korean, which is what I've been into lately. You know, usually there's hockey games on. Some of them might even feature my team. Can I just get a red chest that has any value associated with it? That's why I didn't want to go to the item room yet. Well, no, it's not. I didn't want to go to the item room yet because I didn't have a charge. Sorry, I got distracted. You gotta love it. So Saturday will always be my favorite. Fridays and Sundays are also, as far as work days go, pretty chill. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, very, very busy. By my standards, at least. So I love a Friday. I love a Saturday. I love all the days have their own perks, you know? Their own positives and negatives. Not good enough. And still not good enough. But luckily, we had the wherewithal to give ourselves a little gift back here. I honestly don't think it's great. And a lot of people kind of like, they have strong opinions about Ludovico technique. But I think it's got enough cool synergies that it's an interesting grab for us. We got some problems. Like, this is a weird run. Ludo and number 2 don't work well together. And I'm sorry to tell Ludo that what that means is you're not going to get used that much yet. If you want to get used, call up your buddies in the code and say, hey, give this man Brimstone. He's earned it. If you give me Brimstone, we're riding. We're riding high. You know what I have to do this weekend? I mean, nothing, really, but you know what I would like to do this weekend? Finally, I need to watch either The Lighthouse or Knives Out. I was willing to pay for Bookworm there. I know it's rare. That's a rarity for me. Tears. If we get a battery charge, maybe, but we basically paid 7 cents for 1/3 of Bookworm, which in hindsight now is bad, but I thought it was worth it because the item was half price. It could have given us a half price, you know, humbling bundle or something. I've let the dereliction of movies go on too long. I haven't watched, the only movie I've watched in like the last 2 weeks is Galaxy Quest, as mentioned. And so, like, the thing is, who cares, you know? It's not my job to stay up on movies. But I like to watch movies. You know what I do, like, instead of watching, like, a great movie sometimes? I, like, turn on, and I'm sure other people do this. I know I'm not alone in this. I'll be like, watch a movie? No, I don't really feel like watching a movie. Instead, I'll turn on TV. The TV. I don't know why. Turn on TV is a very... If you're not a native English speaker, this whole bit is perhaps going to seem a little strange. Turn on the TV, normal. Not weird at all. Turn on TV is like, whoa, I didn't realize you and TV were on a, you know, a first name basis with one another. Like, it's such a proper noun, it doesn't even get a the. Anyway, I'll turn on TV or the TV, depending on your perspective. And, no deal, huh? Still a good item, though. And I'll just put on some trash, and I'll, like, 20% watch it while I'm doing something on my phone. I don't even necessarily think that's bad. You know, it's not like I do that, like, 6 hours a day. We're talking, like, you know... If it's 2 hours, now and then, that's still pretty rare, to be honest. But what I really should do instead is just, you know... we got the bone heart out of our brittles finger bone, whatever the heck it's called. I don't know, to be honest. Drowsy? Okay, so we won't go to our cursed room just yet. But there's potentiality here. I really feel like I do well with structure, if that makes sense. I think I do well without structure as well, but sometimes I long for that structure in my life. Like, if there's one thing I miss about, like, being in public school... You know, elementary school, etc., etc. Because we just, you know, where I grew up, we just call everything public school up until high school. Like, I didn't even realize that people had separate middle schools. Like, you went to one school until you were in, like, grade 5, and then you went to a different school for, like, grade 6 to 8. That's weird to me. It's not weird, like, I can't believe they would do that. It's more just like, we didn't do that. Hold on. Little spicy. Little spicy. I'm glad we bailed out of that one. But I miss that element of structure. And I think, to be honest, I think all streamers think it to some extent. I think I'm just the only one saying it. I think this will help us out a lot, to be honest. And I know that sounds very self-serving. That's, you know, thank you. That's why I constructed it that way. It doesn't seem like you get hit by Mr. Mega, so I think I made a mistake in that department then. But, you know, when I was a kid and I went to school... Monday through Friday were exactly the same. And I think that's in a good way. You know, you wake up, I still remember because I did it, you know, 1,000 times. I woke up at 6:45 a.m., you know, go shower, dry off, eat breakfast. Usually I got like 5 minutes before the, you know, the bus comes, get on the bus, take the bus to school. You know, first class starts at 8:15 a.m., you know, that goes till like... You know, 9:25. Next class goes from like 9:25 till 11. 11 to noon is your breakfast. I know, it's very early breakfast. I don't even know how this will work. What a strange run so far. It's like I'm playing Terraria. And then you got 2 classes. You catch the bus at 2:30. You go home. You have a little snack. You know, you start doing your homework at 4 p.m. Eat dinner at 6. You get the idea, you know, play Halo 2 until you're tired, or until My So-Called Life comes on TV. I'm not that old. I didn't watch My So-Called Life when it aired. I watched it when it was in syndication. But still, a great show. Are you a Jordan Catalano or a Brian Krakow? I don't know. It's I haven't figured it out. I'll tell you, I don't think I'm a Jordan Catalano, as played by Jared Leto. Anyway, what am I talking about? I completely forgot, just to be honest with you. Oh, I missed that level of structure. I have it now in my life, but I think for a lot of people that, like, make their own hours and work from home, it's a struggle. Like, I'll tell you, because it got me thinking today, and this is going to be a bit of, like, you know, streamers do this, but regular people do this. It's going to be one of those kind of starts to the commentary. If you got a problem with that, I'm letting you know in advance so you can get out while the getting's still good. Let me out. There's a modest degree of spice. Not a ton, just a modest degree. I think this could be a very pivotal moment for us. Just wanted to bail on that, honestly. Hold up. Pop that down. Don't let me forget what I'm talking about, please. I think we do want this. I really want a half-price heart. To be straight up with you. Like a 3-cent heart would go a long way. Maybe that's a full price heart? Because I think it gives us enough momentum to accomplish Essentially nothing, apparently. Okay, my bad. Thank you, I really appreciate it. But all we need is one freaking blood bag. The money helps, don't get me wrong. That is also extremely helpful. Let's buy this then. I don't think we need blue map. I think we will risk it on the card, and it was not worth it, to be honest. Pandora's box on Catacombs 2. I think you give me an item. So the HP is nice, but to be honest, I'd really like to reroll some IV bags if they come out, so I think we'll keep trying these guys for a sec. This is such a huge potential moment for, like, this run. We are going to go a little bit, you know, Spirit Heart angled here. I think we will buy Diplopia. This is like this is incredible. We'll buy this. We won't double anything yet. You're going to make me say it, aren't you? You'll love to see it. This is like, we're breaking the run wide open. Right here. We've gotten so many luck upgrades, too. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think we need any more speed or HP upgrades. So I think we're going to double up on this first. And this is the Devil card. Then we're going to grab our D6. Reroll everything. So yes, I mean, it's all pretty good. We'll get a trinket out of this. This is a very huge moment here. We'll buy there's options. Car battery, or that's jumper cables. That's totally fine. So this, I mean, this changes everything. I'm glad we focused for a second there. And then there's also stuff we don't care about, so we'll re-roll it again. I'll take the key bum, that's fine. Anyway, that was huge. But yeah, I am in a place now where I have structure in my life, and I've worked hard to maintain that structure, which is why I laugh it off, but I do get a little annoyed sometimes when, you know, perhaps friends and colleagues of mine are like, yeah, we get it, you're old. You like to get 7.5 to 8.5 hours of sleep on a nightly basis. Oh, I like to eat, like, relatively well-balanced meals. It's not to say my diet is perfect, but, you know, I like to eat vegetables from time to time. And then, you know, everybody laughs, ha ha ha, he's old. And then, like, a week later, they tweet, like, dude, I feel horrible today. My sleep schedule is messed up. And I'm like, yeah! Why do you think why do you think I'm such a big proponent of this stuff? But to extend the bit a little further, honestly. Also, it's not like it's a health and wellness, like, pseudoscience thing, you know? It's like, I have a respect for the science. I have a degree in the science. Not a good one. It's from a good school, but it's not a great degree. But, you know, I'm not like, hey, put this essential oil on your perineum, you know? I'm like, hey, consider going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every day. People are like, shut up, Grandpa. Anyway, I've made this too bitter now. Sure, we'll take quick bombs. I don't know, Necronomicon just doesn't appeal to me here. But I tweeted, because I was thinking about, like, you know, I'm doing more inside-y baseball type stuff. Partly because I've started to enjoy talking about it, which is a big change, honestly. And partly because I think people are interested in it. You know, I previously did not think that was the case. Yeah, I screwed that one up. But every time we've talked about inside baseball, people have been like, hey, I would much rather hear you talk about this than just hear you do, like, another Isaac episode about, like, you know, what is this eyeball, etc., etc. So I've been, you know, trying to think of a way to bring, like, more content like that. And I realized that, like, for me, you know, I've been a streamer for a long time, YouTuber for a long time. The idea of, you know, being, like, you know, answering questions about what my daily life is like is kind of, it originally struck me as kind of boring, but I think it's mostly boring because I'm living it, you know? And I don't want to, I'm not bored by my own life by any stretch of the imagination. It's more just like, you know, I'm sure whatever your job is, I'm sure you're in the same boat. You're like, you know, why would anyone have questions about, you know, whatever I do for work? Meanwhile, I'm also the guy who's over here and being like, yo, I would love to ask you some questions about what you do for work, because I have no idea what the heck, you know, what the heck does a risk management advisor do for work? I have no idea. I've lived such a Such a strange life, I would love to know. But somebody asked me a question, and I hope that I have answered this the way I wanted to answer it, which was not in an Isaac episode. So I hope you got more out of this. But they asked me, do you think it's better? Sorry, let me rephrase. Do you think it's easier or harder? Oh, it's not bad. To live a balanced life. Let me rephrase again. I think I'm rephrasing this badly time after time. Do you think it's easier to lead a balanced lifestyle as a streamer versus a normal, regular, like 9-to-5 person? I don't want to define you by your hours, but you know what I mean. Someone who has a 9-to-5 job. And I think the easy answer, and I agree with the easy answer in this case, is that yes, it is easier. It should be easier at least. Because it strips away so many of the things that, like when I think of a balanced lifestyle, I think of, you know, sleep, some exercise, time to cook like good and healthy meals, you know, and spend time with your family, etc., you know? And I'm like, most of the excuses, which are not just excuses, they're like reasons, you know? That people like, they're like, oh, I don't have time to cook that often, or oh, I don't have time to work out that often. Most of those reasons / excuses, depending on, you know, if you want to be negative, don't exist for streamers, you know? Are streamers busy? Yes. However, they make their own hours, you know? If you want to go to the gym and work out at 1 a.m., my bone heart, dude, then go to the gym and work out at 1 a.m., you know? Streamers also, they work from home, so, you know, they have, honestly, more time throughout the day to do stuff like that, in my opinion, at least. And oftentimes, I would say, like, almost every time, no commute. That's very nice. So, like, a lot of the, just getting to work for the average person sucks up, like, enough time. Maybe not for everybody, but for a lot of people, like, commuting twice per day is time that the streamer or YouTuber who works at home and makes their own hours could be like, okay, I'm gonna go for like a short jog and also get meals prepared for today, right? But for some reason, I don't think that it works out that way necessarily. Certainly there are some streamers, and I would count myself here, even though I'm not perfect, but that live balanced lifestyles. But I think for a lot of people, and it's taken me a long time to come to terms with this, to be honest, but I think a lot of people really just, like, the structure they get in their lives allows them to, it provides them a scaffolding, if that makes sense, to do that kind of stuff. Like, for some people, once they get started doing something, they've got no problems, you know, working. But getting started requires some kind of, or, you know, is made easier by some kind of, like, external force, you know? If I don't start work soon, you know, the client is not going to get the blah, which means that the boss is going to get a phone call, which means it's going to come back to me, which means I'm going to be reprimanded, which feels bad, or maybe I'll even, pardon me, get ridden up or something like that, you know?
The stars.
I think that, like, you know, I'm the ally of the common man. If you're watching this video and you're like, man, if I was a streamer, I would work, you know, 8 hours a day, and I would also have time to, like, you know, work out and plan my meals a little better and spend a little bit more time with my family. I'm like, yeah. I agree with you, but for some reason it doesn't work out that way. All the time. Again, some people are crushing it. Battery charge, please? It's just stuff that's been on my mind. Is like, you know, have you ever heard the, and I've talked about this very specific thing before. Most, like, business principles do not apply to my life. You know, I don't understand a lot of them. Well, like, there's one that's like, you know, in a corporate environment, like, a person always gets promoted to a level of mediocrity. You know what I mean by that? You know, you're low on the totem pole, great at your job. 5 years later, you get a promotion. You're great at that job, you get a promotion. You're great at that job, you get a promotion. All of a sudden, you're like, you know, VP of finance, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. You don't get promoted anymore, and you're no longer in a role that really, you know, suits you, if that makes sense. Although you're probably crushing it financially, so kudos for that. make their pockets hurt. However, that doesn't really apply to YouTube. But there's one, and I always forget the name even though I brought it up many times before. It's like the amount, let me rephrase. No, I think I was on a good level there. The amount of time it takes to complete a task is proportional to the amount of time given to complete a task. What I mean by that, I think I've used the example before, like on summer vacation, all my mom wanted me to do on a daily basis when I was in high school is take, you know, meat out of the freezer so that it was defrosted and she could cook a beautiful, healthy meal for dinner. And, you know, when I woke up, which was usually at like noon, I was like, I don't need to do it right away. She's not home for 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, you know? Then all of a sudden I hear like the Ford Explorer pull into the driveway and I'm like, oh crap, I put it off so long. You know, I actually forgot to do it, so I'll just run down and do it like super quickly. And then she'll be like, oh, did you take the meat out? It's frozen. And I'm like, well, I took it out. I don't know, maybe it's just cold today in July. I think a lot of people that make their own hours kind of struggle with that. You know, if you wake up, you're going to be awake for 17 hours, and you got, you know, 8 hours of work to do, you don't need to start it right away. Even if you waited 9 hours to start it, you would still finish it in time, right? But then, you know, all of a sudden, it's like the end of the day, and you're like, well, I didn't do anything. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. I don't think I'm cut from a different cloth necessarily. I think I'm just a little older. Well, than some people. Younger than some people as well. I wonder what the average age is on planet Earth. You think 31 is still younger than average? I know like, people can live to be in their 80s, but, like, globally... Or did I say people can live to be in their 80s? I mean, people can live to be in their 120s, you know? People, on average, will live to be in their 80s. Maybe, like, late 70s for a man, but... Hold on. We haven't taken any guppy items. I don't really love either of these. We'll take this. It's a little strange. This is where you bust out the Google Assistant. I'm going to say 31 is younger than average, but not by much. I bet the average is like 33. Average age of human beings on Earth. $72. I think that this is not the correct query. Average age on Earth. 29.6 in 2015. Yo, that's crazy. So, I mean, that's kind of slightly old data, but still. I told you. You wouldn't know it living in North America, where I see hundreds of boomers on a daily basis and like 4 children. We're living in a young world, though. Actually, I've realized there is a reason, because sometimes I'm like, man, I don't see kids in Vancouver at all. And then I start to, like, reaffirm that belief in my head. I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's because it's so expensive to live here, so people would obviously wait longer to have kids. Which is probably still true, to be fair. But, you know, I start to be like, I wonder why I never see kids. Then I realized, I think I told this story before, but like 3 months ago, I went to a popular lunch/brunch spot in the city on like a Wednesday, and there were 1,500 strollers in the restaurant, and I went, oh, that's right. Maybe I don't see kids very often in the city, because I don't, you know, go out to places where people bring their kids. You know, if you go to a bakery or like a McDonald's at 12:30 p.m. on a Wednesday, you'll be like, we got too many kids. Guess we can't really do much there. It's okay, this run is fine. It's still like, it's not underpowered, it's just, I feel unmoored, if that makes sense. It definitely might not. It's fair enough. Feel like I don't know what I have going on for me in this run. All I know is how I feel about it, which is that our damage is pretty good, but certainly not at like Like, you won't believe this run territory. Even, like, that shop saved us. But I think it really only brought us into, like, above average tier. I don't think it took us any further than that. Should still be fine, though. I'm telling you, dude, number 2 is, like... This, in my opinion, you know, for all the negativity I spouted, being a truly toxic character at the start of this episode, number 2 is like a perfectly balanced item, in my opinion. First off, I mean, when I say perfectly balanced, I don't mean it's equally bad as good. You know, that's... I don't think that's where I want my balance to be in games. I mean, perfectly balanced and balanced perfectly, I guess, have, in the English language, have 2 different connotations. Perfectly balanced is like equal weight. Balanced perfectly is like, that's where I want it to be balanced. It has a negative. You will hurt yourself with number 2, but it has a huge positive. Unlimited bombs that have AoE damage. I like it a lot. Not sure if I've mentioned that 20 times. So I'm using Alges here because I think we probably would be hit. Plus, we got plenty of time to get, you know, more cards and more runes. Maybe they aren't as good as Alges, but this could provide us with maximal yield, as strange as that is. So anyway, those are my weekend plans. I don't really have too much going on. We've just been hanging out. Kate's been under the weather for a bit. But speaking of the weather, it's finally, like, nice in Vancouver. I go through this every year. And by the way, sometimes when I talk about the weather, people are like, he's a boomer, he's talking about the weather. Being outside is nice. You should try it sometimes. If you're like, who cares about the weather? I'm here to tell you, it might be a positive mental health change to get outside. I know it was for me. A little bit of vitamin D on a semi-daily basis. That's once every 2 days, right? Not once or 2 times per day. I never know. I've asked the question 20 times. I've never figured it out. Instead of calling me on Boomer on Twitter for saying, hey, nice weather we're having, maybe you should go experience it a little bit yourself. Anyway, this is a pretty big straw man argument, to be honest, but, you know, that's kind of what I'm known for, so let's move on. But every year, and we have wonderful weather in this city, without a doubt.
The world.
Oh, that saved me a little bit. I mean, we just didn't need to have both mapping and the Emperor card, but anyway, I'm getting distracted. We don't want to use those both on the same floor is what I'm trying to say. We have wonderful weather in Vancouver from, I would say, April to October. So, you know, that's a 6-month period. And then even, like, you know, October's usually not too bad. And it never gets crazy cold, but the wintertime it, like, rains a lot. And even March is pretty good. And even, like, in February, I went outside without a jacket today. Just had, like, a sweatshirt on, and I was loving life. But, I always, between April and October, I always forget that sometimes the weather in the city kind of sucks, and I get in this bubble of like, why would anyone ever live anywhere else? The weather is great here every single day. It's crazy. We have the best weather. It's never going to be bad again. And then, like, the first cold day comes around, and trust me, it doesn't get that cold here, and I'm like, oh, right. And then over the winter time, I forget that the city has nice weather, and I go, oh, man, this is crazy. Everybody should just, like, live in the Caribbean or, like, the American Southwest. And then the sun comes out, and I go, oh, I'm never going to be mad about the weather again. There's only, like, Vancouver only has, like, 2 seasons, to be honest. 2 seasons and then, like, a smattering of snow now and then. Are we a bookworm? Did we actually make it happen? We did make it happen. My God. What a world. Well, you know, we will take this. I don't think we're at risk of death, so I think that'll help us, honestly. Yeah, I don't have big weekend plans, in case that's not abundantly clear. right now. And that's good. I prefer it that way. I'm a homebody, dude. Like, another person asked me, because I was soliciting questions, like, do you ever miss the social aspect of, like, an office? Like, having coworkers and, you know, the coworkers. I think some people look at it as, like, a negative, but I honestly don't see it that way. They are kind of, like, forced friends. But I think that can be nice, you know? Oh, Lori's birthday party is this weekend. She invited you. You know, you bring your significant other. All of a sudden, you've, like, expanded your friend network in the city. Like, you got connections now. But that being said, no, I don't miss it at all. I truly love being alone and at home. And most of the time that I'm out, I'm like, man. It's the classic, like, introvert sort of situation, right? Where, you know, if you're an introvert, you recharge, like, spiritually by being alone and being quiet. If I go out, I'm like, man, this took away from my recharge time. And now I gotta recharge even more. Anyway. Just my personality. I don't miss that at all. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time. See ya.